Hello, I'm Jane Fairfax. I'm a psychotherapist in private practice in Santa Rosa, California, and I've been specializing lately on post-traumatic stress syndrome. You've been reading a lot about, in magazines and newspapers, about PTSD, how it's being discovered in the war zones and in people's lives. I'd like to say a little bit more about the treatment of post-traumatic stress syndrome, not just identifying it, but what do you do when you have something like that going? The symptoms are tension, anxiety, fear, all the negative emotions, rage, anger problems, numbing out, all those things that take someone out of being able to connect with their community, with their spouses, with their families. So today I want to talk about one technique in particular, which is called EMDR, another acronym. PTSD you can treat with EMDR. And EMDR means eye movement, deprogramming, and reprocessing. It was developed by a woman who was struggling with a problem that she had, and she was walking beside a picket fence. And she was watching the pickets move by her eyes, and she realized it was stimulating her brain to work in a better way, in a more positive way, in a more problem-solving way. And so she went on to develop this whole program of EMDR. And a lot of people in psychotherapy are using it now. It's very effective. But what it does is it opens up the neurological packages that hold those traumatic memories. That could be from a war zone, or it could be from domestic violence, or an accident, or an illness. But it closes up after the trigger and the reaction to it. It closes up intact, and that's not helpful to the person who's dealing with this problem. So in order to open up the neurological package that holds that history and process it, a lot of people talk about processing. What is processing? It means looking at the history, at what was happening, and putting it into a different frame of reference. Maybe looking at it with empathy at the other person's situation, if it was a fight, or where you were when this was happening. Maybe there were people that were helping you and you don't remember them. So EMDR opens up this neurological information that's held in your brain and lets you process, look at it from a different angle, maybe remember some things you've forgotten, and move on so that you feel like the pressure lessens and gradually the body and the mind respond to this and work differently. Your memories are always there. You're not going to take away your memories, but they don't have to be the engine that drives your whole being. You don't have to have trauma being the way you react to the world. It can be different. And you can be in a state of calm and love and engaging with your environment from then on. You don't have to be stuck. And so many people coming into my practice talk about being stuck. So today a friend has come by, and I'm going to do a imitation EMDR visit, if that would be all right. So thank you for being here and volunteering for a fantasy EMDR session. What I'm going to be doing is you're going to watch the tips of my fingers, and I'm going to move them. So you're not going to move your head at all. So let's practice that a little bit. You look over here, and then you move just your eyes, going back and forth. Perfect. Okay. And then I'm going to remind you of what you said that you would like to work on. And that was the loss of your mother and how that affected you. So I'm going to speed up my fingers a little bit, and you're going to remember that day when you lost your mother and how difficult that was. So just watch my fingers. Can you remember that? What comes to mind?
Her body at the end, night before how she was impossible to get into bed. And I felt her weight be different. I know now why they call it dead weight, because when she was really close to death, and she died at night, she was so heavy. I was very strong, I was young, and I couldn't get her into bed. Could not get her into bed properly.
Okay, I want you to stay with that. I could not get her into bed. Just keep that thought and how difficult that moment was. Just keep moving your eyes. What comes to mind?
That I felt useless.
Okay, that is just a demonstration of how EMDR works. What I would have done with him was to go deeper into how hopeless or helpless he was at that moment and what that does to him when something else comes up in his life that makes him feel the same way, and how that engine, that unresolved pain or discomfort about the past affects the future or the present. Just as an afterthought, I want to make sure that you understand that EMDR has to be done by a professional. It's not a parlor trick. And what you want to do is discuss it in detail with a therapist to see if it's appropriate for you in your case. Okay, just wanted to make that very clear. Thank you so much for being here and going through that with us. Next time, we're going to be talking about other ways of dealing with post-traumatic stress and what's out there in the field that's very new and very helpful. And I'll see you next time. Thank you so much for your time. Bye-bye.